Hello Nitro fans, Racing 393, and this is part 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 of this series of videos of my Flying Point Probe Nitro rebuild. And where are we at now? Well, today's video we get the car somewhat tuned. I won't say, done by any stretch for various reasons, but in the previous video we got it started. It started easy. It's quite easy. Nitros are fairly easy to start. I'll have to sort of throw that out there, but to tune and get them running sweet, that's where the challenge is. It's not always easy. The older the engine, the harder it is. I quite like vintage Nitros, but they're not even, there's a lot of channels out there that do vintage Nitros, and actually what they've got is actually in pretty good condition. But the ones I get could be hit and miss. This one was okay. In fairness, it wasn't too bad, but it's just the fact of a mid-90s Nitro, the engine, you don't know the history of it. It has been used, has been run, you can see that, but has it been looked after? In most cases, you find a lot of things wrong with the engines once you delve a little bit deeper. So in this episode, we go through doing the engine, various different startups of this engine to try and get it to run and settle. It seemed to be drawing air. Now, my first thought is the carb. I took it apart eventually and put it all back together. There was nothing wrong with it, but it seemed better. It could be drawing air from anywhere, to be honest. The back plate, but there's nothing coming out. So surely, if there's air going in, however slight, there'd be oil or fuel coming out, unburnt fuel. Is that, to me, that's how it would work. It has got a gasket on it, as it happens, the back plate, and it fitted on well. It wasn't broke, and the bolts are sort of torqued up reasonably tight. Maybe not as tight as they could go, but tight enough. Then they sort of crack if you undid them. The carburetor has got a weird pinch bolt setup. It's certainly not the pinch bolt that came with that engine. Someone sort of made something, and I think that could be a little bit hit and miss. But it is in there, and it's solid in there. It's not leaking. It's not leaking out the front bearing. It's not leaking under the clutch. The only part that is leaking was the exhaust down near the front. So that will need to be addressed. It's also, I think, blowing past the cable ties or the zip ties that I've got with the elbow, the flexible exhaust elbow, if you like. So I need to get some thicker. I've got them, some thicker zip ties, and I'll really crank them up a little bit tighter to stop it leaking. It's still not going to justify of why when you start it up it sort of revs the crap out of itself and then settles. It started to settle down a bit easier in this video. We get it somewhere nearer what is acceptable. I think once I've sorted out the leaks in part 7, we'll get it, hopefully, because we're coming into winter in the UK. It's getting to sort of just coming up to October, and the nights draw in. It's just rubbish. I mean, anyone that's in the UK will know what we have to do. I mean, it's the only country that suffers from shite weather, but taking these cars out in the cold is just not my thing. It never has been. So, and even if I did, as we know, nitro engines can be a little bit of a trick to start. Heaters and things like that. I have got an engine heater, but I just can't be bothered. Just fiddle around in the cold with, setting the screws, it just can't be bothered. So we never know. We might get a mild stretch where it's not raining and get it out for a run. Now these videos stretch over time. This is part 6. a lot of people might even fit it all in one video. I just don't have time for that. By the time I get around to doing it, you've got to film other videos and other videos. But by the time you get where you're at, you've got so much going on. You've got work to do as well, like building work. So that's why I split these videos so that they are, you know, again, this will be a part 7 episode by the time I get it out. There's not much else I can do with that. Let me know what your thoughts are about that. See if, I know some people might say you're milking it just to get a car done. Well, I actually enjoy the rebuild of a Nitro, vintage radical control car, Nitro power. It's just something I enjoy doing. So getting it done as quick as I can. It's not really something that I want to do anyway, even if I wasn't filming. I'd like to take the time. So yeah. Anyway, sit back for the 6th episode. And let me know your thoughts, any feedback. Hear it when I do start it. You know, sometimes it's weak, sometimes it's rich. Yeah, it just takes a little bit of fine tuning. It really is a fine tune. You can't just crank the screwdriver and turn it. It just won't work otherwise. So let me know what your thoughts are, and I'll see you soon in a colder UK for part 7. Right. Can't remember which bit this is now, but the time has come to fit one of those. A Chinese knockoff Samwa receiver. I've done it before. I suppose it can be a little bit hit and miss, but let's as you can, well, not let's, you can probably see that all the wires are just everywhere at the moment, not here. So I'm going to have to put this on and do a bit of wiring up, and then bind it to my receiver. Bind it to my receiver? Bind it to the transmitter. These springs, they're on their way because these are too stiff. The back's fine, as I said before, so I'm hoping they'll fit. It's a bit of a long shot, but anyway, enough of that. Simply, I will put that on now, and I'll be back when I've bound it. I'm going to have to take the air cleaner off again, I think. I don't know how much throw I've got. We'll see. Anyway, let me crack on. If you're interested, battery on charge. I've taken the carb off because the slider, or the butterfly inside, it kind of pivots round and round, and it shouldn't do that. It works, but it shouldn't. I don't think it should pivot. There's something, it locks in on something. I think it's the throttle stop, but I need to work it out. So I'm not going to film this bit because I don't really know quite what I'm doing. Waiting to get some life in the battery, and then we can set it all up properly, because when you go full throttle and brake, it works, but it is a butterfly, but a slide has a tendency to move, so I need to look into that. So yeah, let me see what I can find out. Put the car back on. There's nothing really wrong with it. It is the slide, if you like. There's no, you might, and I didn't know this, but it just turns. So it doesn't, usually the throttle screw, the throttle stop goes into a groove, stops the slide bit from turning, but that's not the case. It butts up against the end of it, from what I can see, so it goes in only so far.
If you screw the throttle stop in, it only goes in up to that stop. So anyway, nice and easy, I suppose. I'm just waiting for the battery to charge. Maybe not fully, but it was having low voltage yesterday, so, and then I can set the throttle up and all this wiring on this side. So I'm just waiting for the battery to charge. I'll be, you know, I'll come back when I've got the wiring sorted out and all the throttle stop and dual rate for the throttle and the brake. So I did it yesterday, but I was unsure about how that was supposed to be set. But everything else seems fine. So the plan would be then to get that all back in, get that back on. Everything's charged, so could even get it operational from a controller on the bench. We'll see. It's not that loud, but I'll be back when I've done something, when this is charged up a little bit. So after a bit of consultation with the manual, I've set the failsafe to off. So on the transmitter, if just so you know, you go to settings, like that, so like that. See the setting? You go enter. It's on steering at the moment. So throttle. So the throttle set. You scroll down to failsafe, and what you set it on, you put it on to 100% minus. It's got brake failsafe off, so I'm guessing that means, anyway, that's how I've set it, if you can see that. And if I demonstrate, so that's flat out. It goes out of range, so turn the receiver off, move it out of the way. Receiver off, listen to the, and watch here. Don't know if I can zoom in actually, should I try and zoom in? So that there, flat out, turn the transmitter off so that it simulates loss of signal, and watch this bit. Transmitter off, I'm flat out still. Let's put the brake on. So if you lost signal, obviously don't work now as I turned it off, turn it back on, it comes back again. So yeah, quite important to set that on all your nitros. If you're going to know that anyway, aren't you? So if it flat out loss of signal, it shuts down. So if you walked near it or some intermittent, as you get nearer the car, it might pick up again. So you just want to make sure you're not going flat out on the transmitter. Right. We're still charging, by the way. The moment of truth. Right. It's primed. It's all charged. Let's just do this up. It's all on. Connected. Charged, we hope. Ready? Unedited. open the throttle, it dies immediately. I think the carb might be, don't know, drawing air, don't know. I've done a bit of work with the carb now. It's on 16% nitro. All I did is took the carb apart. I put another O-ring between the carb and the block. Tightened up the linkage, that was loose. I think the exhaust is leaking slightly now. It could have been anyway. Yeah, I'll just show you. It's not perfect, it's better than it was, he says. He says. We'll see. So still might be too weak. I'm going to try again. It's not super hot. I'm getting low on fuel, so I just won't do it anymore after this, but well, there you go. What does that mean? Let me turn it off. Well, it's a long way off. I'm not saying it's nowhere near perfect, but it takes. I mean, that's quite hot now. It's not as hot as it was yesterday. I licked my finger and just put a bit of spit on it and put it on there. It would sizzle to dry. So it was really hot yesterday. So it was too weak. I say yesterday, it's the same video, but it's over a couple of days. Bottom of the exhaust is leaking. I can take that off and redo that. It is temperamental. Turn that off now. Temperamental with the tuning. You've only literally got to put like a tiny bit of pressure with a screwdriver on the low end. Really small amount. It's just like you just turn the rubber inside. It seems like no, even that's too much. You turn the screw and it just takes up like a bit of the play on the rubber. It's got an O-ring in there. Well, it hasn't actually on the low end. So it must have actually it might have. I had to take it out. I don't know. Couldn't see it. I don't know. But a small amount is what I'm trying to say. and it either makes the engine rev the crap out of itself. It still must be drawing air from somewhere. I've got a feeling it's to do with the carburetor, but it's got a new O-ring on it. Still got a bit of there's not much compression there. It could be another reason. Right, I'll have to let it cool down. The plan was, God, there's a lot under there. What's that? What's going on here? There's a lot of oil. Hang on, let me just. There is a lot of unburnt nitro fuel all underneath here, which makes me think that it's rich, like really rich, or just maybe wants like a hotter plug or something. I don't know. Is that how it goes? A hotter plug or colder plug? I don't know. So I'm not quite sure. I mean, it's an old engine, that's the thing, and it could be just knackered, and you can't get bits for it. Just got to get softer springs for the front, glue the tyres on. I mean, it could go out for a little bit preliminary run, because everything should work. It seemed to run a bit better on 16%. I was using 25. Yeah, 25% nitro, like at the beginning of the video, and I changed it to 16%. So maybe glue the tyres on so they're on, softer front springs, seal the exhaust, and just a tank of fuel, and that's all really, and just see if you can get it to run. When it's running, at least it will keep it a bit cooler through the air, won't it? When it's stationary in the shed here, it just gets, I mean, it's not over hot now. It was yesterday. It was really hot yesterday, but so it's only 74.5 Fahrenheit. Well, yesterday it was like 128. That's really hot. Yeah. So I think. What do I think? I think it's knackered. No, it's not knackered. It's just it probably is knackered. I've literally just. I mean, I changed the linkage so that it doesn't. When you go on the brakes, it still shuts the engine off more, and when it's slightly on neutral, it revs or can do. So I'm thinking to myself, it's obviously a carb issue, but what can you do? Because mid-90s, it's not worth. Like I said, I haven't spent a load of money on this. The electrics, the shocks, the spring, this air filter, the battery. That's about it. It's all I've all used what I've had. You know, it is what it is, I think. But it wasn't working when I got it. It needed cleaning. It's now a lot better. Anyway, I think that will end the video there. Keep this to be quite a short one, and then maybe I say maybe I've got somebody. I mean, see if we can see there, that one there, and that one there. I did that one back in February. Got it running, and still haven't taken it out. It's finding time, isn't it? I just don't get time. Well, what do you think? Yeah, I mean, it's much better. I mean, a mid-90s nitro, which is pretty much obsolete, does run. I mean, if you took it out, it would run, and I think that I might try that and see whether once I got the springs on it and sealed and do the bits I need to do, maybe see if I can get it so it's responsive locally, as in I won't zoom off down a runway and it will disappear off or cut out. I mean, there's no other leaks. The good thing is it's only leaking under that exhaust. I'm going to have to rethink how to put the pipe on there for the fuel, because it got caught up with the clutch bell. So I might have to just, I don't know, I'll figure something out. But anyway, that's it for now until I get round to running it. Who knows when that'll be, but let me know what you think. I thought the rear diff was playing up, but it is still diffed. It is, well, it is leaking, but I don't know where from there actually. I don't know what that is. It's not the shock, unless it's coming off of the exhaust here. So that I've got to look into. Anyway, give me your thoughts if you've got one of these. Is it worth doing? You know, am I wasting my time? Oh, and I bought the phones, didn't I, as well? So they're about £8 or something. But right, that's it for now. Keep an eye out for more full update. Just subscribe to the videos if you can. Hit the notification bell. And stop putting faces in front of that camera, you dickhead. Anyway, I'll see you the next time. Cheers.